And in terms of who I think can be the next Jordan, well, there's nobody out there that can replicate what I did going 6 for 6 in the finals. LaDiddy James has played for what seems like 30 years now, and he still only got 4 rings. I got 6 rings in 15 seasons and did some side quests along the way, like busting some ass in baseball. Meanwhile, the fake GOAT LaBarbie James is out here more worried about what outfit he wants to wear to Diddy parties instead of playing ball. It's time for him to retire. I got Curry ahead of him anyways because Curry doesn't go jumping from super team to super team and passed around like an OF girl.
Don't ever underestimate the heart of a champion.
Okay, Ring Culture, welcome back to Ring Culture, where we play no games, we just spit game about the game we love. Before we get into this video though, go over to my reaction page, The Nuclear Reactor, and check out my 4 sports reaction playlists, and I have some individual player playlists over there too as well that y'all will enjoy. But back over here, Ring Culture, make sure y'all like and comment down below. That's how y'all push me into the algorithm, and then I'll go get them. When my content hit them, it fit them, and sit with them. Subscribe and hit the bell notification so y'all can be notified for every time I upload. Share my videos and hype my channel. Make sure y'all comment and like down below. I need those even for the algorithm to push me into it. But today I want to talk about some comments that Michael Jordan made about the GOAT debate. And I've heard Michael Jordan make comments about the GOAT debate before, but this time he went a little bit deeper into it. And I think a lot of it is because of a lot of the disrespect from today's players towards the older generation. Remember, LaFraud said on the Pat McAfee show that Giannis will have 250 points back in the 70s and 80s or some dumb shit he said. Anthony Edwards saying that Michael Jordan was the only player that had skill back in the day. JJ Redick saying that Jordan was being guarded by plumbers and all this dumb shit that he was saying. So Michael Jordan's been getting the whiff of that because Michael Jordan's a hoop head. So you know he hears all the talk about NBA from NBA players because he loves the game. So he kind of touched on that a little bit. I want y'all to listen to what Michael Jordan had to say, and then I'll come back and give y'all my opinion about it. So check this out.
One thing that's never changed with sports fans is the debate about the GOAT. Who's the greatest of all time? So it's rare that I get a chance to sit down with one of the guys who's debated about to talk about the conversation of that term, the GOAT.
The whole GOAT term is never going to be something that I ever will get high or low about, you know. It just doesn't exist with me. I never played against Oscar Robert or Jerry West. Would have loved to. Absolutely love to. Just as competitive as I am. You know, and I actually learned from them, you know, and we, you know, paved the road to the Kobe's and the LeBrons, right? You know, and to me, it's the beauty of the game of basketball that a player after a previous player has evolved the game further. Mm-hmm. But don't then, in essence, this is where I look at it, you know, don't then now use that against the player that actually taught you the game or that you learned from. Yeah, and that's why I have a tough time. And, you know, look, I would love to have played against LeBron and, you know, Kobe in my prime. You know, I would love to have played, you know, against those guys. But we'll never be able to know that. Part of the marketing, part of the hype, part of the things that tries to elevate one generation above the other, right. I think it creates animosity. I have no animosity against today's players, but you do have certain players that do have animosity because of the forgottenness of what their contribution has been to the game of basketball. It is what it is. It is a empty comparison. It's absolutely never find that the true answer to that question.
It's a circular conversation.
It's just going to keep
You're
going.
Never gonna get
and
the right
I understand.
Answer.
And
but it's great to talk about.
100% to talk about and envision. Look, I think LeBron has had an unbelievable career, and I admire him for what he's done, you know, and Kobe as well as KD and all these guys who have played in this era. I think they've elevated the game of basketball tremendously. I just don't agree when you start, you know, trying to put one above the other. It doesn't work. We'll never know. It creates more of a problem from, you know, not for me. I've never given it credence. But, you know, for other players who look for their existence within the generation of basketball, and we should always honor that. We should always preserve that. We should always, you know, reward that they paved the road for a lot of generations after that. And by doing that, you somewhat, I mean, Jabbar, I mean, Wilt Chamberlain, I mean, Bill Russell had 11 championships. Yeah. I mean, how do you just push them in the corner and say, oh, we ain't gonna think about you. You know, we forgot about you. You know, that to me is where I get lost.
Yeah, certain players do have animosity because this era is soft as hell. And they want to make it believe, a lot of players in this era want you to believe that this era is the bigger, stronger, faster, most athletic, most skilled, hardest era to play in, when none of that shit is even close to being the truth. Before I go too far, I want y'all to listen to something that on Danny Green and Paul Pierce podcast, because it's going to tie into a lot of stuff that I'm going to say. So check this out real quick, and I'll be right back.
Okay, yeah, there's more movement, right? Let's just say they're circling. In the 2000s, we had to fight through picks. Yeah. We had to really fight
it's more physical.
On defense.
It was more physical.
So, that's harder to do. If I got to, tonight, I got to get through this Patrick Ewing, Anthony Mason pick and roll all night.
It's not harder on your Achilles, Paul.
Mentally,
so many times I'm bruised up after the game. My shoulder hurts.
It's definitely more physical.
It's hurting.
So why were more guys playing 75 games a year then?
Because it was tougher. Well, now you're switching everything. So you make up for the running you had to do on defense for our era. You take that out of their defensive switching everything now, because you had to stay home on everybody. So you did more running on defense than they do now.
More half court set though. I don't disagree. It was definitely a tougher era. It was definitely more physical. Yeah. But this era is more miles. They're getting more miles. They're running more marathons, bro. So that's why the tendons. You have a tendon issue.
I do think they just do more.
So it's more up and down. It's less half court set. Back then, it's
that makes it harder.
More pinned down. No, I'm not saying it's harder. I'm just saying
it's harder on your body.
It's harder for the tendons.
When I'm switching on defense every time down.
No,
but you're not.
I'm switching on defense.
You're not. Every
now
time.
We're watching. Now I'm sitting up here on defense watching the ISO ball.
You're taking it different. I'm not saying it's harder. I'm saying it's harder for your tendons on the body than it.
I think
that was probably a harder
the defense
mentally
to play.
Mentally and physically. I think it was harder than to actually do it. But
Paul's saying these guys aren't tough enough to play 75 games.
When we ran through the middle of the paint, you was getting hit. You was gonna get hit.
Yeah, you was.
You was gonna get hit way more.
But you was also playing half court set more, so it's more stagnant.
Bro,
it's more getting
way
hit.
more stagnant, bro. Way less movement.
So again,
it's more getting hit.
Would you rather get the bruises of muscle bruises or tendon bruises? That's the difference.
Why are we getting tendon bruises? Because we're not conditioned. Because we're not practicing every day.
Maybe so. I agree with that.
Practice every day. So
I agree with that.
Like you heard the term when you was growing up, practice how you play. Mm-hmm. Well, you're playing and not practicing.
And they're going not even at game speed.
Now you're hamstring. Why is there more hamstrings? Because you're not practicing how you play.
I think it's overused.
Yeah. So you have players nowadays trying to hype their own era up, to me, out of insecurity, because they know that this era isn't anywhere near as great as the 80s, the 90s, and the early 2000s. You know what I'm saying? These players nowadays don't want to play 82 games. They're bitching because the minimum rule is in place. But the minimum rule wouldn't be in place if these players wasn't load managing so much. They're not playing for rest, or maybe they're hurt a little bit, not injured but hurt. Draymond Green saying that they didn't have to deal with that back in the day. Of course not, because they played 82 games or as many games as they could. They didn't just sit out because they wanted to load manage like these players do. These players now spoil you, but we keep hearing that these are the best conditioned players ever, And we already know that these players are highly conditioned because sports medicine is better now. So why aren't they tougher? Well, they're not tougher because the over time, in the mid 2000s, the commissioner, starting with David Stern, and now to the new commissioner, started changing rules so the offensive player can do more things on the court. That's what happened. Then you fast forward to the game becoming a 3-point shooting contest. This is something that I want to say how Danny Green was saying that there's more movement now. That's bullshit. It's not more movement. Back in the day, they actually ran offenses, which they were moving in offenses. You had to fight through screens back in the day. Nowadays, you don't have to fight through screens. You just switch. That's what they do. Also, like Byron Scott said, they're not running all the way up and down the court. They're running to the three-point line a lot of times. They're trying to make it seem like the whole league is nothing but a track meet. Yes, the pace is higher and there's more possessions, but aren't these two things? Aren't these the most conditioned athletes ever? Number one. And number two, the pace is higher, but it's not more movement in a half-court offense. That's insane. It's about the same amount of movement in a half-court offense, except for the fact that back in the day, you would actually fight through screens. It was tougher. When you get to the rim, you had guys meeting you because the help defense was better back in the day. The defense as a whole was better and more tougher back in the day. Sure, you could cherry pick some highlights or some bad teams that played bad defense back in the day, but they were the exception, not the rule. In today's NBA, you don't have to cherry pick as much to get those clips because today the exception is the teams that play great defense. I am happy to see that more teams are starting to play great defense because OKC is forcing them to play greater defense so you can actually beat that team, and it's been working more times than not. Now, let me get back to what Michael Jordan was saying about the actual GOAT debate other than the animosity. Michael Jordan, everything he said was interesting. He didn't get a chance to play against LeBron and all these guys and would have loved to, but he's the GOAT by far. Stop it. Michael Jordan is by far the GOAT in the NBA. Michael Jordan did so many absurd things in the NBA in a 15-year span. And 2 of those years, he only played 17 and 18 games respectively. So Michael Jordan got 6 championships in 13 full seasons, 6 championships in 11 seasons with the Bulls. And remember, again, those seasons, 2 of those seasons was with the Bulls is where he played 17 and 18 games respectively. So 9 full seasons with Chicago Bulls, he got 6 championships. Come on, man. It's insane. Even when you take the 1 year with the Wizards when he got hurt in the middle of the season. So it's really 12 and a half seasons, 6 championships, 2 three-peats, dominance, records galore, highest scoring average in NBA history even after he came back with the Wizards. When he retired from the Bulls, he was averaging 31.5 points per game on 51% shooting. That is fucking absurd. Especially for a shooting guard. For a shooting guard to average 5 rebounds and 5 assists for a career is super elite. He averaged 6 rebounds and 5 assists, 2.5 steals, 0.8 or 9 blocks per game. The only player in NBA history, one of 3 players in NBA history to have over 200 steals and 100 blocks in the season, and he's the only player to ever do it twice. He has the most season with 200 plus steals. He has the highest as a shooting guard. He has the most blocks in the season. I think he's number 1 and 2. Michael Jordan's the only player to sweep the season awards more than once. He did it like 4 times. Stop it. But Michael Jordan is by far the GOAT in the NBA. In 1988, Michael Jordan set a record that stood for 30 years. When he played point guard in 1988 for the last 24 games, he had a streak where he had 11 triple-doubles. He had 10 triple-doubles in 11 games, and one of those streaks was 7 games in a row, which was a record that stood for until like 2018. By far the GOAT, bro. Highest scoring average in the finals with a minimum of 2 finals. Highest scoring average in the final series. has the most years, has the most series with the highest game scores. Michael Jordan was number one in most analytics. Joker passed him in a lot of them soon, and that might even Jordan might even overtake him again as Joker get old if he doesn't retire while he's at his peak. It's insane. Michael Jordan did so many insane things. If you go on Wikipedia and just look up Michael Jordan records, although some of them have been broken, he still owns over 100 NBA records. It sounds crazy, right? Just go to Wikipedia. You can look it up. This stuff is free for anybody to view. So it's not close. Luka Doncic broke one of Michael Jordan records. Michael Jordan had the most games of 25, 5, and 5 in NBA history, and Luka broke it like 4 or 5 years ago. Just think about how long he was holding these records. And it took an inflated stat era for these records to get broken because they would have never gotten broken. Michael Jordan has everything that goes along with being a GOAT. He has the championships. He has the awards, 22 awards, by far the most in NBA history. I think Bill Russell might have more or tied with him if some of the awards were around back then. But right now, Jordan has the most. It's not close. It's not a discussion, really, who the GOAT is. So Michael Jordan is being humble. And it's good that he's being humble because he should not be running around calling himself the GOAT. He shouldn't be. I don't know if he believes what he's saying or he thinks he is the GOAT. Who knows? But I do believe that Michael Jordan believes that he could beat all those players that are in the GOAT debate. And I believe some of those players believe they could beat Michael Jordan. I just don't think they can. You know what I'm saying? He says he respects LeBron. I don't. I think LeBron James is a fraud. I don't think LeBron James is in the top 10. I think the media has brainwashed a lot of people to believe that dumb shit, and it doesn't line up with reality. But my whole point is that the amount of absurd things Michael Jordan has done in his career doesn't make any sense. Also, Michael Jordan is undefeated in championship play in his entire career. 2-0 in the Olympics, 1-0 in college, 6-0 in the NBA Finals. Insane. While sweeping every major award in the NBA history. No other player has ever done that, ever. In 1988, Michael Jordan led the league in steals. He led the league in scoring. He won Defensive Player of the Year, and he won MVP. That's ridiculous. The 1997 season was an absurd season, too. The 1988 was the greatest season by a non-championship winner and a regular season MVP season. It doesn't make any sense what he did. That was also one of the seasons he stole over 200. He had over 200 steals and 100 blocks. So it's not close. There's no one close to Michael Jordan. And I had one of my subs, me and him is in a discussion now about Joker, the great games Joker has had are better than the great games Jordan had, but you're not even taking into account that this NBA is watered down. And he said that Jamal Murray said that Joker could average 45 points if he won. But neglecting the fact that Michael Jordan could have averaged more points back in the day if he was a stat-hungry player like LeBron James is. But Michael Jordan was more concerned with winning than his stats. And forget about what he would average now. It would be absurd. But y'all let me know, do y'all think that there is a GOAT? I do. I think it's Michael Jordan by far. Who is your GOAT and what is your top 5 or top 10? I would love to see where y'all got some of these guys ranked. But y'all know I'll be down there with y'all because I love having conversations with my subs and my viewers. And my viewers that aren't my subs yet, what are you waiting for? Sub in. All right? And always remember, we are ring culture because the whole point of the culture is to win rings. For the culture, I love y'all. Peace.